Welcome to San Francisco Week. Tell them what it's about, Jack.
Well, it's all about going to different agencies in San Francisco, figuring out what it's like to work in advertising in San Francisco, and just the culture in general. We went to Eric and Coleman, Barrett Hoffer, BSSP, Venables Bell and Partners, and Goodby Silverstein and Partners, and it's a freaking blast. You're going to want to stick around for this.
Boom. Said it perfectly. Check it out. Alrighty, gentlemen, thank you for having us. Can you introduce yourselves for the audience, please?
You start, McGinness.
McGinness. I'm McGinness. Will McGinness. I am the head of creative here, the CCO, and excited to be here with you guys.
And my partner.
And partner, sorry.
Come on.
That's right.
Come
Come
on.
on.
Leave me hanging here.
I'm leaving out
Very much
details.
remind me of ourselves. I do see ourselves, our future selves here.
Yes, gray and haggard and
say
overworked
that.
and miserable. Yeah, no, good. It's encouraging for you. No, Paul Venables, founder, was on the creative side, creative director, writer traditionally, and gave Will the reins when he showed that he could do the creative department better than I could. And now I feel like head cheerleader, support guy, junior strategist is a title that's bandied about here for me. So whatever I can do to help.
He's downplaying it. We're all in it. We all roll up our sleeves, and it's part of the beauty of where the industry is, I think, right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the Venables been around for now coming up next year. 2026 is 25 years.
25 years of independence.
Yeah.
That's wild. When this is out, it'll be 2026. So
2026.
So this year.
If we make it.
Yeah.
25. You can't run for president at 25. It's 35, I believe.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
But you can probably
It's not
maybe
necessarily a
rent
job anybody wants, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but independent. I remember at the 20th anniversary. Is it true you were saying we would be in AOR for $20? Was that true?
That's right. We did that. We offered to we had like a little contest and local area businesses. Don't forget, 5 years ago, COVID, people were hurting. And so we had a whole process where we figured out, and the San Francisco local kind of football club was struggling, and we gave them some help with branding and stuff. But yeah,
$20.
I don't think they ever paid us, actually.
They had the $20. We also did remember the 10-year anniversary.
Oh, that was good.
We did we gave space to local businesses, startups for $10. I think it was $10 a month.
year. It was
$10 a year, yeah.
Yeah.
So we had like all these startups in our space with us, which was kind of cool. And
Some stuck around for multiple years. Yeah.
That's so funny. So anything? What about 25?
Working on it.
25?
Don't stress me out. Don't
Yeah.
give me another creative assignment. We're working on it.
Okay, gotcha. Well, if you need help, I can start pitching
Yeah,
some
all right.
ideas.
Yeah.
Let's talk
Maybe
about
you guys
it.
could be involved.
Let's
Jump
think about
in.
it. Let's think about it. 25, maybe a quarter. 25
Yeah,
cents comes to
exactly.
mind. The
That's
penny's
good.
going away, but
Yeah.
the quarter is still here.
The quarter
Maybe,
is here.
There's
Yeah,
something
there you
there.
go.
You
Something
offer
there.
breaking and entering advertising services for a quarter.
Yeah.
There
I
we
like
go.
that. I like
Yeah,
that.
that's just the start.
We'll,
Funny where that's coming
we'll
from.
run that through the creative department. See what.
Great. Excellent. Yes, the layers of bureaucracy are showing
Yeah,
themselves.
it'll be a
Yeah.
machine will chew it up.
Of course.
So we're here to figure out what is it like to work in advertising in San Francisco, and then more specifically here at this agency. So you guys have been 25 years in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Independent.
Absolutely.
Your roots are here. So we could probably get into this conversation of what has it been like for the past 25 years, the shifts that have happened along the way in advertising specifically.
Yeah. Well, I could start from our kind of origin story. So I came from New York City, came out here, was working, and thought I would work at Goodby forever. Kind of rose through the ranks there, and then had a chance with an old client, and it was like, really, you'd give me your account? Really, you'd open a shop for me, and kind of thing, and it was happening. And this was 2001. So in the spring of 2001, the dot-com bubble burst, and it was an absolute meltdown. In fact, the day we opened, another media organization you may be familiar with, the New York Times, probably a competitor for you guys, ran an article of us opening, and like 3 agencies were closing that day, like Lowe and Martin Agency was here. A bunch of agencies closed because they were here for the gold rush, which blew up. So that was May. We opened June 1 was our official date. And then this is 2001, September 9/11 hits, and the whole global economy goes into a tailspin. So we kind of grew up knowing like the value of $1 and a hard day's work, kind of like a grandmotherly kind of approach to things. But San Francisco had to be it. Like when I came out here, the advertising world in New York back then, we're talking like early 90s, was I don't know, like the scales fell off my eyes when I got here. Like how creativity was truly put on a pedestal, how it was about really trying to figure out what's right for a client's brand and not just like suits trying to sell something. And I just was, for me, a different world from what I experienced. And I was like, this is a creative mecca, and it has historically been. Like when you look at art and music and culture, and like San Francisco is a hotbed. Even the architecture is like of design and of creativity. So we knew that we had to be here. And so that's where we said, okay, I'm not going back east. We're setting up here.
Even when the bubble burst.
Yeah, we were like, we believed in our own abilities to deliver good shit for clients, and it was just a matter of getting the word out and finding the right clients.
Beautiful. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in like that origin story in starting from the from Goodby, and what was that like with speaking with Jeff and Rich and starting your own agency. Did Jeff, put you in a headlock kind of thing and say no chance?
There was tickling. Tickling
involved.
involved.
Was involved, of course. They're known. Yeah, no. So I'm interested. What was that conversation like?
So it happened a year earlier. I had gone to them. I had a chance to take a big cushy job for a shitload of money, and I said, "Listen, the reason I'm going to do this is that I think then I'm going to do that for like a year, save up money, and then start my own place." So they knew I had this kind of bug, and they were like, "No, chill here. We'll give you money. We'll give you this. Do this. Let's go here." Mm-hmm. And the way they were so genuine. They were like, we used to call them mom and dad, like Jeff and Rich, were just really. I learned so much from them and respect them so much that I was like, okay, you know what? Better to leave Goodby Silverstein to start a place, a little more creative cachet than a bigger holding company. And so I said, I'll hang out for a year. And then in that year, I was starting to think, maybe this is good. Maybe I'll stick around. And then the dominoes started to fall, and I had to go back to them and go, remember that thing I was talking about doing? Yeah, I'm still kind of going to do it.
Yeah, on a much smaller scale, when I was working in agency life, and I would talk to my boss about like taking break entering full time. Like that's when I knew. It was like once I had that conversation, it was like in the back of my mind, like this is going to happen. Yeah. So, and you just got to go do it.
You put it out in the world, right? When you verbalize it, all of a sudden, it's out there now. It changes
things. You put it in your head. It's like the more you start imagining that reality, the more it becomes a reality. It just kind of manifests,
I guess like. Would you have done anything differently, like on that first start? Then, like, would you have done it sooner? You think?
No, because I needed the work that I did in that year. I did like 3 killer campaigns that won a bunch of awards. I was like, that was helpful to leave. And then the other thing that we did really well, if I give us credit, was I had seen from my position, pretty high up in the company, that they would get conflict business or business they weren't pursuing, and they used to recommend it to shops in town, but they were kind of annoyed with all the shops in town. There was like, they stole people, or they, and so they were like, their relationships were a little bit not great. And
wait, who?
Like, other agencies.
Okay, got it.
People who had left Goodby, started agencies, and then started to maybe poach people, et cetera. And they were like, Rich particularly, not cool with that. Mm-hmm. So I went to them and I said, listen, I see all the business you turn down, whether it's a conflict, whether it's because Jeff's in Tahoe and doesn't want a deal, or, what have you. Just refer me, and I'll be respectful. And, it was kind of like an understood that I'm not going to go raiding your creative department to take people. Yeah. It wasn't like a contract or anything. It was just this notion. We're going to be more respectful. Mm-hmm. And they said, okay. So that turned into, and then they said, well, do you need office space? Because we have all this extra office space across the street, and the .com bubble burst, and they didn't need it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, can I get it real cheap? And they're like, yeah. And so then I got that. And then I was like, well, can I use your, at the time, E-level, which no longer, rest in peace, E-level, for putting reels together or doing work like that in their video production. And they're like, yeah, you could use that. So it ended up being a small percentage of the company we ended up giving them for access to all this stuff. Yeah. And then we bought that back after a few years.
Okay, that's good. So those good relationships helped you out there. Absolutely. What were the other players at that time, agency-wise?
Agency-wise, gosh.
And Butler.
Yeah, Butler. Liga Stellini was around. Mm-hmm. They were a good shop. Shia had an office.
What was the Yahoo place?
Black Rocket was an agency. Was a good agency. Also, ex-Goodby folks.
Riney
still was doing good work. Yeah. Yeah.
So McGinness,
Yes.
how did you come into the fold here? I mean,
Well, I was I was back in Boston, and I also took a job at Goodby. So I was at Arnold worldwide for 3 years. I got into the industry through kind of a side door. Like I was a painting major. I went to the mountains after college. I wasn't quite sure what I would do.
Which mountain?
Jackson Hole.
Nice.
nice. You just went to the mountain. I like that you just say you went to the mountain.
Went to the mountains.
Because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter what mountain.
It's
But you
all
get the
Or
about
what he
mountain
did.
living.
He
Yeah.
worked in retail. He folded
Yeah,
shirts.
I worked in a t-shirt shop. That was my job.
You're folding shirts.
Lee's Tees. Okay. Yeah.
Lee's
Do you know-
Tees.
Do you know Jackson?
No.
So anyway, I didn't know what I was going to do. I came back and, this was late 90s. I didn't even have an email address. And I was like, after 3.5 years there, I was like, what am I going to do? My stepfather was like, the internet's huge and you could probably take your art stuff and do web design. He gave me some books and I was like, all right. And I started figuring out kind of the building blocks of how to build a website. I was like, oh, there's something cool here, I guess, And I took a webmaster program through Skidmore College. There was like a few months, and that was like back when that term actually existed, webmaster. And they introduced you to like cold fusion, hard programming, like hard coding, JavaScript, DHTML, HTML, like kind of give you a spattering of everything. But when I got to kind of Photoshop and Illustrator, I was like suddenly like, oh, like I get this, like I like this. And it was kind of like my art background suddenly being funneled through a computer. So I kept going with it. I started building websites for local, businesses. The library that my mom worked out, I ended up designing and building the website, soup to nuts. I did an architecture firm for a guy that lived down the street from me. So I was just kind of like freelancing as a web designer, and then I moved to Boston and I jumped around into different jobs, got blown out of the water sometimes. I'd go in and they'd be like, can you reformat and recode all these cascading style sheets? And I'd sit there for like 10 minutes and I'd go back to the guy and be like, I don't know how to do any of that. So sometimes it was
So he got promoted.
colossal failure, but I got a freelance gig at Arnold and I wasn't even like aware of advertising. I didn't go to portfolio school. And I came in there and I was like, oh, this is different. These are my people. And they were like, well, this guy's like a creative guy that actually knows the nuts and bolts of how to build this shit. And at that time, VW was like, they were doing really progressive, interesting things with the technology, Flash, and they were doing shit that no one was doing yet. So I kind of just folded into this VW group. They hired me full time. Sorry, this is a longer answer than. And then I ended up spending 3 years there, and then got the call.
Awesome. Did you do that? There's like a series. Just talked to you.
Yes.
Yeah, got a call from Goodby, and came out, and then made a home here. And the plan was like, let's go. This is an amazing agency. Jeff and Rich are awesome, legends, and let's just do this for 2 years. My girlfriend, who's now my wife, moved out and we just found a home, and those 7 years are really formative for me. So I did 7 years there, had a whole kind of adventure, learned a ton, and then Paul and I met and we hit it off, and that was 15 years ago. So
Can I make a note here? So your wife was, or your girlfriend at the time, now wife,
Yes.
she was like, I'm down to move with you to this city. Don't you guys have an award, or did you have an award for this agency of like, for the spouse that's like supportive?
Yes, it was the spouse, partner, significant other, or So we used to give that to with Christmas party. We'd have all these different awards, and we thought, first of all, spouses and significant others and partners were always invited. So we essentially doubled our cost on this stuff because it was important, because we knew we had someone for so many hours a day or a week, and that they weren't. They're busy. Advertising is a tough business, and so how do we kind of acknowledge their contribution in a way of lending them, lending us their love of their life, and so we would make sure they got an award and celebrate them, and yeah, I think it was always a good gesture.
We would want to do that at Break Entering, but
Yeah, no, that would be a thing. But
Yeah.
we haven't actually had to have that issue.
Interesting.
The input isn't there yet.
We wouldn't speak about the circumstances that surrounding that.
No,
we can. We can get into that.
We can absolutely get into that.
Maybe this will help. Like we should put this out in the
100%.
Dude, that's why we do it.
That's what I'd be doing.
So this, like, I feel like it's so interesting, the story and how you two came together, and then like the entrepreneurial mindset, and then your background is like this creative, free-flowing spirit. Both feel very.
That's a nice thing to say.
He nailed it.
Entrepreneurial mindset, and then this free-flowing creative spirit feel like the two defining characteristics of San Francisco too.
Oh, I love it! Boom.
I mean, are you kidding me right now?
I would drop
Ali,
this if I wouldn't
Ali,
break my foot because it's so huge.
Yeah, you know, like I really do feel it. I feel like that
You nailed it.
I know, and thank you. I know we can sit on that for a little bit, but
we can.
But I mean, talk about that. Like that's what I feel like makes San Francisco culturally so interesting. Is it's not people, despite like what the outside, what people in the media say about what San Francisco is.
Yeah.
The reality is that the people that are here are so culturally diverse and come from different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then you come together and it's like this melting pot, this fusion of creativity.
That's the soul of the place. You nailed it. It's really a soul, and I think part of it speaks to actually geography. When you're in San Francisco, we talked about this, half hour into the mountains, the agricultural farmlands, the coast with the shore, the forest, the road. It's got this diverse environment all around it, right? And then even a little further, and you're in Silicon Valley, and you have that whole world. So like you have this little crucible of interesting people come here for different reasons, and they bring their spirit, their creativity, their entrepreneur spirit. I mean, the whole West Coast was founded by entrepreneurs, people who were like done with the East Coast coming across the country. Bank of America is like an Italian immigrant was like, I can, I'll loan money to my friends, in construction. It's like, so it's a huge, absolutely the little bit pioneering spirit.
I think part of it is the optimism. That's like the common denominator that kind of joins everyone together out here. That's something you and I both share to a fault sometimes. We're really optimistic, but I think that optimism is what you need in this industry. You're going up against a wall of cynicism, rightfully so. I mean, the majority of advertising out in the world is awful, and we fucking beat people over the head with it. So you're constantly having to go through a labyrinth to get stuff made, sold, and produced. And then you're just trying to break through that wall of cynicism. So that force of optimism at the heart of what we do is what drives us to keep going back and keep doing what we do and keep striving to do our stuff. And that's a thing that San Francisco has.
You nailed it. That's a great point. Yeah. We also share that optimism. And I'll even add this layer to it, that for whatever reason, advertising is difficult. Creativity is difficult, right? You have to sell everybody. I used to say I'm criticized for a living. I criticize my work, then he does, then my partner, then the strategist, then the account people, and then the client, and then the client's, girlfriend, and then and then YouTube commenters, and then the award show judges. It never ends. You're criticized for a living. And so you have to have a level of optimism to get you through it. And what happens, for whatever reason, a lot of creative folks are jaded cynicists. And so you would think they would all be optimists because that's the business they're in and what they're trying to do and get through this. But so many get jaded and cynical. So for being in the business this long, and you're right, still having this like hopeful, wide-eyed optimism about we can do great things if given any kind of chance or break, it's cool.
Well, how do you deliver that to the creative talent that's in these walls? Like,
we beat the hell out of them.
Yeah, beat the hell out of them.
It's abusive. Be positive. If we can be abusive, then we would.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. So I mean, it's got to be tough. And like you add in not only from an industry level, but also the view of San Francisco. San Francisco is like this. Like people use it as like a thing to just like prove their dystopian view of the world. And so like those two things, I feel like it's, and I almost could see like if you're someone that lives here, you're almost like this idea of no, like screw all that. Despite all of this, I'm still going to be positive, and like that has to be a difference.
I think it's just it's an instinctive thing that you feel or you don't. However, I think we recognize that the energy of optimism and just the energy of an agency is contagious. If the more you feed that, the more it kind of like propels and more people feed off that and contribute to it. I think you recognize when the agency is energized, you feel that, and you know it's good for you, it's good for the agency, it's good for the collective. So I think it's just an instinctive thing that we continually try to feed, you know? And
I think another thing too when it comes to talent is I've personally stolen a page out of my wife and I were foster parents for a long time, and we used to have to learn all about like different personalities and learning types. And one of the things they shared with us was a serious study like Stanford, where it was they judged what are the factors that lead to a kid's success. And so how do you define success? Well, it started with like, they're not pregnant or getting someone pregnant by a certain age. They're not, alcohol and drugs, avoidance, education levels, career. So it was a whole range, not just academic success, but a whole range. And they looked at every factor and they came up with 2. And it wasn't zip code or how wealthy the parents were, or how much education they had even. The 2 they came up with, which I think is fascinating and applies to creative department, is 1, an adult, doesn't have to be a parent, could be a coach, could be a teacher, that has high standards for them. I expect you're going to deliver, and 2, supports them in doing it, right? And so it's that encouragement, that optimism, like you can get there, and I'm going to help you get there, but we have high standards. And so I think that perfectly assesses like how we look at our creative department and our product, high standards, and then what are we going to do to help you get there?
What does that look like then in action for the creative department? How are you guys making that work?
Well, I think for one thing, what you're talking about, we've always, felt that you lead with kind of a coaching mindset. And I know that sounds really obvious, but a lot of places kind of do the disapproving parent, which is more of a fear-based, you didn't fucking deliver.
Yeah.
Now go back and fucking show me the right answer next time. And it's a different mindset. And we've just made a conscious effort to always try to build people and it's honestly selfish too, because we just believe that when you're inspired, when you build from a place of confidence, you're willing to take kind of risks and look beyond kind of what's safe and expected. I think fear leads to derivative work.
Yes.
It leads to safe work, and it doesn't allow people to fucking go out on a limb and present you something that's a little bit crazy, a little bit scary. Like Cardi B's nails growing fucking 10 feet and she ties her shoes like that. Creative would present me that idea
if they were afraid.
If they were afraid
that you were going to go, that's stupid.
What the fuck is this? No, it's like, I don't know what this is, but it's interesting, So like building that, you want that confidence. You want people 100%. To have the feeling that they can break some eggs and try something new. And I think that's where
another way that comes out too is like when someone has an idea, let's kick it around. Let's, from our experience of how things get produced or how you might create it or how cast it or how you might look at it, let's beat it up and make it as good as possible. And it's a teaching moment, right? So you're hearing how we're looking at this and trying to make it better and better. And then we go, it's still not good enough. That's okay.
Yeah.
But it's not like, dead on arrival. It's like everything gets its due. Yeah. And you get a chance. And through that working in that process, people are learning. People are figuring out for next time. You're teaching a person to fish so they can come back next time. Oh, remember when they said this? This is a good way to go with this idea.
Yeah. That transparency, getting everybody involved.
Just let's see if we can make it great, and if we can't collectively, we'll hold hands and go, not good enough. Let's do it with something else.
Yeah, and I think I bet a big reason why you're able to do that, and like it starts with leadership, is because of that like independence. 25 years of independence. Because if you think about like, I don't know, I think that everyone has to they have to report up to someone. And it's like sometimes I think that gets in the way, and that like the fear starts at the top, and the fear can trickle down because someone has to report to someone. So if you're like someone who, I have to make sure it's good for my boss and their boss and their boss, then by the time it gets down to the person who's actually coming up with the ideas, there's this mountain of pressure.
Yes.
Speaking back to your mountain time, McGinness, I'm sure this is
exactly. He knows that.
That's a great point. I think you're right. It does start from the top, and it could go all the way up to the holding companies and cascade down. And it kind of it's a culture that can metastasize without you realizing it. Pretty quickly.
If you think about it, holding companies, right, they have shareholders. And so they have a fiduciary responsibility to deliver numbers for those shareholders. That's literally, they're on the hook, right? I get it. Yeah. But it's not great for delivering A, what clients need, and B, and fostering creativity. So if that's the pressure, and it becomes, we got to make our numbers. Imagine that trickling all the way through. Oh, be creative now. We got to make our numbers. Be creative. Like, how do you get there from here?
Yeah.
And that's what you see. It just unravels,
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. Like to draw like a a sport or like analogy, I think it's Nick Saban who's like, we don't even look at the score, we look at like executing each play perfectly.
Love it.
And so you're like, you're not bogged down by the idea of like the outcome of the financial result or stock
Outcomes
price.
are the danger.
Yeah, outcomes
Right?
are the danger.
And you can control how you execute. And if you didn't do it well, you can pick it up on the next play.
Right.
That mindset, flush it and do the next play. That's how you move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the industry just went through a crazy transition. And like, how do you guys feel being independent today with all the merger going on with the large holding companies?
We feel good. I think honestly, we talk a lot about the fact that, I mean, a lot of what the industry is going through, we kind of went through and we recalibrated. We feel like there's kind of, this could be the age of independence, and I think you're going to see a lot more kind of pop up. As a result of these mergers, but I think it's a good time. It's a good time. I think we're well suited for AI. AI is hit like a meteor in this industry in the world, and to us, it's kind of this amazing thing that supercharged our business. So from where we sit, it's a really good time to be independent in this climate.
I think it's probably a good time to be an established independent. Yeah, 25 years old, and because we're going to see new agencies pop up, but from our perspective, I don't think it's very newsworthy for an agency just to pop up now. That's kind of expected. They have to have some new angle or some big time hire or something. There's got to be another layer of the newsworthiness, but you guys are already established. You guys know what's going on. I think that serves you all a great advantage.
Yeah, I think you're right. When we started 25 years ago, it was how can we get a quick hit? Once we have a quick hit, we have some of that credibility to be newsworthy, to be considered and talked about. Great pass at Goodby, we could talk about them all day long, but how do we get an actual victory under our belts? Yeah. And so that happened for us early on, which was great. But the other thing too is we're not just independent, but we have a senior model. So for years, advertising got what I call the layer cake effect. So you had the group strategy director, the assistant strategy director, the junior strategy director, and you have this whole layer cake of folks, and only maybe 2 out of that list could solve the actual problem, right? And so it's all kind of busy work and and layers where communication can get go sideways really quickly. We're now in a senior model, so everybody in the building pretty much can handle a freaking problem, and they can present to a client, and they can execute it from every department. And so that become like a senior SWAT team. So you add clients, the world is shaken, holding companies are crumbling maybe, I don't know. The layer cakes are getting blown up. AI's taking a whole bottom rung or 2 or 3 of those jobs. You're still going to need senior people to solve business problems with creativity. Mm-hmm. That's still going to be in business. Yes. So now you're a giant account. Maybe you shouldn't be a $10 million account at some big agency. Maybe you should only be a $4 million account and get really good creative thinking, right? Mm-hmm. And then let your internal people and the AI bots blow it out.
Right.
That whole thing is going to happen. So it's going to be an efficiency play, but if clients play their cards right, it's going to be an efficiency play for more effective work, which is top line growth, demand generation, not just busy work for impressions and filling a media plan.
Yeah, and it's whoever's going to be the people, the companies to embrace that change, because I think it's probably a scary thing, what you just laid out, where you're saying they don't need a $10 million account anymore, they need a $4 million account. There's probably a lot of this justifying your account and justifying your contract, and you're saying no, you still need the 10 million because look at all
these people are doing this. Well, I don't need all those people now.
and now you're justifying the spend. You're spending more time justifying the spend than actually doing something that is going to create impact.
And back to not to keep beating up the holding companies, but if your whole business model is to make money for shareholders, right, that's a world you can't afford to have that happen.
No. And then I'm interested to pull it to San Francisco, talk about the impact of being so close to all of the front lines of AI happening down the block, and how that is maybe an advantage or something that makes you excited or gives a lot of opportunity for the San Francisco market in particular.
Yeah. I mean, we've always appreciated being, the proximity to Silicon Valley for that reason. It attracts talent that's kind of has that, whether or not they're technologists, per se, they have kind of a little bit more of that mindset or an eye towards kind of new developing technologies. So you just meet people that are a little bit more in tune with this stuff. So I think it's kind of in the water. It's when you go out and you meet people, you're talking to people that are potentially working at some of these places. OpenAI or whatever. But yeah, I think it's more just the general vibe of San Francisco is dialed into that kind of new emerging tech, and you feel it, and I think right now it's fucking fascinating. This is fucking crazy, this moment in time. We think it's really exciting, so it's a good place to be for this, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, imagine do clients your brands that you work with, they're obviously also trying to figure out how to use AI and how to use AI for their marketing and for their creative. Is it are you trying to kind of be the company that's giving solutions when it comes to that front? Like, how do we even use AI? How do we even implement it into our marketing?
Well, I mean, every new client, when you get an RFI, is asking about it. And existing clients are they're seeing the same shit pop up on their social feeds. They're like, what the fuck? How can we use AI? And it's not, AI is a lot bigger than generative AI. It's a lot bigger than an AI video. However, we're doing a lot of that. So I think we just assess and we experiment. It's a culture of experimentation. We're all kind of doing roundtables and sharebacks, playing with the technology, creating things soup to nuts, or just augmenting things that we're already doing and experimenting. We took one client's a spot that we had done, and we translated, on-screen dialogue, translated the same spot in 5 different languages, and just showed them hey, so this is possible, or
and the lips moving with the new language.
So it's kind of shit. What else can we do with this? So we're showing them the possibilities. Whether or not we deploy it, that's a conversation. You got to be really cognizant of where that brand sits in culture. Is it a good idea? Right now, it's a really polarized moment for AI. You've seen it. You've seen what happens with Coke, and they've made that calculation, and they're saying, fine, let's fucking do it. People are going to hate on us, but we want to be on top of this new technology. So there's that. You see what happens, the McDonald's thing. Yep. So you got to play it, according to what that brand is in culture, and be really cognizant of the risk and whether or not they want to do that when you're producing work that's clearly AI. But we're looking at it at every level of the business. I mean, you're using AI to just augment shots, or hybrid. You can get in the same way you use CGI, you can use AI for pieces of it. Yes. So it's not all or nothing when it comes to AI. But there's a lot of different levels where we're looking at it from a strategy perspective. How can it help us there? So
a lot
AI
of media
is big,
too.
and
we have a media partner who uses it pretty well. So one thing I really like about it is what I love. We're the kind of agency that doesn't go, here's our AI and how we use it for your. We show stuff, have a meeting, and then we go, oh, what we just showed you was all AI. And they're like, what?
Yeah, right,
because it's it puts it in bright perspective. What we talked about, the content, the idea, the execution. That's what matters. Oh, and by the way, and particularly for the generative stuff, we used AI here, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like we're going to be pioneers and make you the AI brand. No, we're going to do your job for your business, and then we're going to tell you, oh, yeah, that part, AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just showcasing that process and what you actually used, being that transparent, having that voice in that conversation is so important with those clients, because then it shows them that you care and you're experimenting.
And sometimes it's honestly just showing them the potential of an idea, making that visceral. So even if it's just to sell the idea, we used to do a lot of rips in new business, which is just ends up being a montage of things that you collect from the universe. And there's a reason why a lot of work ends up being that, the client's I love that. Produce that, and you're like, wait, that's an idea video. Because the more visceral you can make the work for clients, the better. We just make this assumption as an industry that clients are in tune and really good at listening to scripts. They've got a vivid mind eye, and they can kind of go there. And I think a lot of ideas are just lost in translation. They're getting bits and pieces, and they're seeing the visuals. Now you can use AI to actually, rather than just collect a bunch of vignettes together, you can start to approximate the vision for an ad, even if it's going to end up being a live action shoot with no AI whatsoever.
Isn't that even great? From just, if you think from the lens of someone who has a crazy idea in the agency, just to sell it internally even too and bring it to life, because there's so many things that are maybe make sense to a younger person that it's this crazy idea, but you kind of have to be trust me. trust me, Paul. Like,
Yeah.
this is funny. I swear.
Yeah.
But now
Prove
you can
it.
actually go and you can go and like really create something that's close to the final product to even just get everyone on the same page.
And that skill, like the way we're looking at it, every creative person should be able to create an AI. Like it's like Photoshop was years ago. It's like it started with the person in the agency who was really good at it. Everybody went to them, right? And like, oh, I need that person on my comps. It's like fast forward a few years, everybody's Photoshop, fluent. Why are we not everybody fluent in every single program?
We're at a moment again, like kind of the digital revolution, where I think agencies are probably like, we need that guy, we need that person, to bring in and like solve all our AI headaches, because it's evolving at such a rapid rate. It's easy to be like overwhelmed by it and to assume like, oh my God, I'm so far behind this shit. This shit's popping off every week. Like, how am I ever going to get there? Get a person, But we're big believers in being like, okay, you know what? It's messy. We know it's messy. Get comfortable with the chaos. Jump in, experiment. No one's an expert. We're all going to get dialed into this, and we're all going to be part of this, and we're all going to use it. And it's just, that's the reality of where we're headed.
Yeah.
So just like when you took those web classes and then you learned Photoshop, you got into it and you learned it over time.
Yeah, it's never too late. It's not too late, and
that's right.
it's not insurmountable. It's
No.
still so new.
It's messy.
If you think about you still like learn Photoshop 20 years after. Like just because it's there's updates, there's
getting
stuff
better at it,
You just
right?
gotta get in. You just gotta get in.
And we all we could be experts in Photoshop and still really only use like maybe 10%, 15%. Like it's like it goes so deep.
Even with Excel.
Yeah, Excel. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I don't know
shit.
anything about that.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. Yeah, I love that. I love that shit. I love that shit.
We do this. We have recurring questions that we ask every agency on these tours. So I'm gonna pull them up here. First question is, what is the work that defines this agency right now?
Wow, that's a great question. We have, I'm going to cheat and give you two. So Chipotle is an account that we have, like, we started working with them when they were having their food crisis situations, and we just opened that up and went behind the foil and into the kitchens, and just we're developing that and expanding that, and that has been a wonderful case study. And then this new work we're doing for Scout, we're launching a freaking iconic truck into the world from the ground up. We were part of literally pitching the idea to get it financed to build a $2.3 billion factory. We were involved in like making that happen in our own way, and now we're helping shape a brand. And it's a truck that we're talking about for all 50 states. It's not like just a coastal adventure machine. It's like a hard-working, middle America, 8-day-a-week truck. It's going to be an EV platform, but it's going to have the Harvester, which is a range extender with gasoline, so it's going to cover a lot of ground there. No pun intended. And it's just going to be a real truck with a solid rear axle and a body-on-frame construction, and then like a legitimate working truck.
I want to see this thing.
It's incredible. The spot that about getting all the workers, all the jobs going to the factory and like building like with the community in mind is an incredible
and it's just
emotional
go to work
awesome.
spot.
Appreciate
It's
it.
just,
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's really cool, and it's like it reminds you, it's like this new wave, this new age of like when you think about the old motor companies and like Detroit and like the sadness of like all those factory workers, and now this feels like it felt like the next
Hope,
wave,
optimism,
right? A hope,
community,
optimism.
and that's that script, right? Like was to do that, right? It was to drive a community and give you this feel that we don't have a truck on the road yet, and it's driving reservations. So I would show marketers, look, are we talking about product specs and features? The trucks aren't even moving in that thing; they're just parked. But we're driving demand because you're feeling something. You're connected to
it's really cool to see it, especially with the backdrop of like I think EVs for the auto industry. They've represented this idea of like it's taking opportunities away. It's like it's different, but like this is like a great opportunity to kind of get EVs like in general and be like that driving force. No pun intended. Again,
boom.
Like that one.
We're on it over here.
So
you guys are up.
Super cool. I do really recommend anyone that is listening to this to go check out even that spot alone.
Have a great day. It's
Appreciate
called.
that.
Why'd you pick those two?
I think, well, here's one thing, the observation on those. We're building brands, and I know that sounds obvious, but in a world with like lots of project bits floating around the universe, think a lot of agencies are trying to just win that project and move on. Do something great or not, or get a big hit that could be fleeting.
Quick shiny object.
Quick,
Put it out in the
shiny
world.
object, Do something. And these are like long-term relationships.
Yeah, that's
The
one.
Scout one is a partner that we worked with for years on VW and Audi. The Chipotle partnership is 9 years running. So these are like deep partnerships, and they are brands that are additive. We're building over time. Every piece contributes to a larger story for these things. It's not a fleeting one-off thing that we want to win and move on. So I think that's what we're really good at. We dig in deep, and we build the partnerships, and we build a brand that like can last.
I love that. Brand building is my favorite part of this business. So
Endurance. You got to be
yeah.
in it for the endurance.
Yeah. All right. Next question here. Jack has great hair. This is what people consistently say about Jack. What is one thing clients consistently say about your agency?
Oh, well, they say, I've heard this many times in the 25 years. You guys are a pain in the ass. You're tenacious. You keep coming back, and I killed an idea, and you keep coming back and refining it and working it and showing me why it worked. And it's okay. And then the reason why it's okay is because I know your intentions behind it are good. You're trying to do the right thing for my brand, not for your portfolio, not to win an award, not to get press, not to be on Breaking and Entering, but to do the right thing from business. So I entertain your pain in the assness because I know you're coming from the right place.
Wow. I love that.
That's fantastic. Anything to add there?
No, I think that's the perfect answer. Is the truth.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
nailed it.
Nailed it. Nothing, no comment there. That works for me. How does working in San Francisco advertising differ from other markets today?
Well, I mean, we've been here a while now, so it's. I don't know. Like, I'll just take my time in Boston compared to here. Maybe it's the optimism thing that we talked about before. There's a spirit to this. There's something that feels a little bit harder and more cutthroat about the environment back east, at least from what I remember. Again, we've been here for a while now.
Political.
Maybe political, yeah. But I think it probably does point back to that spirit of optimism.
Yeah. Best idea wins in San Francisco. It's always been that way with, again, art and culture and music and all of it. It's like, and that entrepreneurial spirit we spoke about, it's like people come here because they believe in their heart there's a better way. So that's why the Silicon Valley incubators are, creating all kinds of new products and ways to do things, because there's a belief there's a better way. We're going to disrupt this world. We're going to disrupt that world. And I think that's the spirit of San Francisco. It
goes back to the pioneers.
Yeah. It's really the blood of the place.
Oh, totally. I can't help but draw comparisons to, if you're a musician or an artist, this was the place to come for opportunity. You go sit in freaking Golden Gate Park and you'd play your instrument, and then people would find you and they'd love you, and then you'd go in and perform. It's similar here. It's like the best idea wins in advertising. And like even now with AI, you can just make the idea. It's the place. This is the place that has the best technology to go and make any idea you want to get noticed.
It's weird throughout our country's history how it's had this gravitational pull and that theme throughout. Yeah, and it continues.
And it's the sunshine, man. Come on.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
The weather. Never hot, never cold. Come on.
Come on. You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
Wonderful. Well, gentlemen, I have no other questions. Jack, do you have any other questions?
No, this was great. And I think you both have great hair too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We work really hard on it.
Yeah,
We
totally.
coach each other.
Yeah.
That's right. In the mirror.
Grooming tips are shared.
It seems like the secret is optimism to great hair.
Yeah. Look at that.
That's right.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah, despite all forces outside, despite all the noise, we persevere through.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
There we
We let
go.
our hair lead the way.
Yes.
And shine light and give people a smile and reason to hope.
That's right. That's right. This was brought to you by Just for Men.
No fucking way, is it?
That was Just for Men hair.
Just for men, people. Get on this shit.
Come on, let's talk. Let's talk.
Turn the fans on.
Yeah, oh my God.
Can you imagine if we're like, it's the Just for Men hair segment?
Yeah, and then you just slip that into the end.
They're like, we're really targeting
Yeah.
advertising
Yes.
professionals for this product.
I love it.
That's amazing. Well, thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You guys are great. We appreciate what you're doing for this industry. A ray of light and hope and optimism yourselves. So keep doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.